Every school has that one kid who is super talented at something random. At this one school, his name was Marcus, and he was amazing at flipping water bottles, but not the normal way. He was able to flip these water bottles and have them land on their cap on crazy surfaces, like the edge of a chalkboard. Watch this. Nice. He made it look so effortless that this one kid in his class wanted to try it for himself. It was study hall, very quiet, and he's sitting there. He's got a half-empty Gatorade bottle, and he's thinking to himself, this is my chance. I'm gonna flip this bottle, land it on its cap on the teacher's desk. You see, Marcus was in this study hall as well. Oh, this kid went for it, gave it a flip. Marcus is gonna be so impressed. Here we go. It was like slow motion. Flip, flip, flip. But suddenly, the cap fell off. He didn't tighten it enough. And this Gatorade spills all over the teacher's desk.
What the heck is your problem?
He panicked. Marcus did it, Marcus said.
But no, I didn't, bro.
The teacher said, yeah, I don't believe that. Marcus is a god at flipping bottles. Teacher knew how good Marcus was. He didn't believe this kid for a second.
I'll take myself to the office.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Tough break.
Most uncomfortable dinner ever. So this kid gets invited to his friend's house for dinner. Everyone's sitting at the table and the drinks are poured. This kid said that he wants milk, please. He gets poured milk, everyone else gets poured their drinks, and they start to eat dinner. But then he takes a sip of his milk. But the entire table stops eating and stares at him. The dad slowly looks at him, dead serious. In this house, we do not drink until you finish your meal. Wait, he repeats himself. In this house, we do not drink until we finish our meal. He's like, okay, yep, got it. Will not drink my milk until my meal's gone. He was horrified. Hey, bro, you should apologize to my dad. Seriously? Yes. I'm really sorry, sir. Once they were all done eating, his friend's dad tried to punish him. He said, because of what you did at dinner, I want you to take your shoes off and run 3 laps around the house. Mind you, it was freezing cold outside and there was snow on the ground. This kid just said, yeah, no. I am not doing that. He called his mom picked him up, she told her what happened, and he never went there ever again. What kind of dad does that?
This kid's not all there.
I'm thirsty.
But he wanted to focus really hard on this spelling test. He didn't want to be distracted by taking a sip of water or asking to go get some. So this was his brilliant idea. He went to the water fountain before class. He got a very big gulp of water and left it in his mouth. He heard that this is what the squirrels do. They put nuts in their mouth and they save them for later. Well, that was his idea, but with water. So now he's sitting in class. The teacher's naming the words, and he's writing the spelling down with a bunch of water in his mouth.
All right, class, your next word is fortitude.
His plan was to take small, tiny gulps throughout the test, so he never went thirsty. Well, about 2 minutes into the test, his cheeks give way, and a bunch of water just falls right on his desk. The test and the desk were soaked. Water was now spilling on the floor, and other kids noticed. The teacher walks over. Why is there a bunch of water on your desk and the floor? The kid didn't know how to respond, so he just looks her in the eyes and said, I have no idea. The teacher was so confused by that answer that she just walked away. No more questions were asked. He failed that spelling test. What? Top 3 principles on a power trip. Number 1, this principal banned all backpacks because the hallways were messy and crowded. So now kids had to carry classes worth of stuff in their arms all day. Folders ripping open, papers on the floor. Meanwhile, this principal still walks around with her leather briefcase. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. It became such an issue, parents kept calling the school, asking why backpacks weren't allowed. After a few days, so many kids started asking the principal about her briefcase that the rule died. The next one. This principal was tired of students being late to first period, so he forced every single teacher to lock every single classroom door the second the bell rings. And if you don't do it, there's gonna be problems. Didn't matter if it was raining outside or if your bus was late. If you weren't there before the bell, you weren't getting into class, and you had to go to the office. One morning, a school board member showed up for a surprise visit, and when she walked through the hallways, she saw tons of students banging on their classroom doors trying to get in.
What is going on here?
Number 1, there was a principal who decided students were too loud during lunch, so he made the cafeteria completely silent, and detentions were handed out to anyone that spoke even one word. Milk. Detention. Hundreds of kids eating in total silence. It was completely insane, until one day this kid brought a whoopee cushion. He thought it would be funny to prank his friend during silent lunch, so his friend sits down. It was a slow, loud whoopee cushion fart. Everyone was silent for a few seconds after that. Then, they just burst out laughing. Even the principal. Okay, we can talk again. I guess all it took was some light-hearted fart joke to turn the mean old man into a softie again. When she was a teenager, her dad was driving her to work at Dairy Queen. They're in the car.
All right, sweetie, this is gonna be a good day.
Ugh, I hate working. It's a normal ride so far. Then, out of nowhere, this woman cuts them off on the road. Most people just honk, then move on, but not this dad. He locks in, and he chases her down. They finally get to this red light. He pulls up to the right of her. Rolls his window down, and leaps out of the car right under her windshield. Apologize to me right now! Apologize to me right now! Screaming, flailing, right on her windshield. Now, he didn't put the car in park, so you know when you're not driving, the car just goes by itself very slowly. So this girl is in the car, her dad's on somebody else's car, and the car is just rolling slowly into the intersection. So she has to put her foot over the driver's seat and press the gas herself. Once her dad calms down, he gets back in the car and drives her to work like nothing happened.
Have a good day, sweetie.
Later that night, when everybody's home, they get a knock on the door while they're watching TV. I'll get it. It's the police. Hi, is your dad home? Dad, you're going to jail. And he was arrested. Makes sense. Mr. Gene was a creepy teacher. Big guy, super weird energy. And he had bottles and bottles of Febreze behind his desk. And I guess he had a very strong nose as well, because he took it very personally when someone would come to class smelling bad. If he didn't like the way someone smelled, they would sit down and he would Febreze the air. Well, one day class started normally. He was teaching like normal.
The Industrial Revolution was one of the greatest.
He locked eyes with this one kid. He didn't like what he smelled, so he grabbed the Febreze bottle. He marched right over to this kid.
Can I help you?
And Mr. Gene just sprayed over and over and over for like 15 seconds. This kid didn't know what to do, so he's just sitting there getting drenched in Febreze.
Please stop.
Smell better next time.
Turns around, goes to the front of the class, and begins teaching again like nothing happened. Crazy part is that teacher taught for another 5 years before he retired. I don't know how he wasn't fired. When he was 10, his grandpa asked him,
What do you want for your birthday?
and he says, a brick. A brick? Why? Because my parents still have the super old TV. If I throw a brick at the TV, we'll have to get a new one. Oh, I'm just kidding. Maybe just some Pokemon cards or something. The grandpa just smiles and nods. A couple months later, this kid's birthday comes around, and there's a beautifully wrapped present on the table. Heavy, perfect corners. The kid opens it. Inside was a single brick. The grandpa's losing it. You're crazy. I can't believe you remembered. And the grandpa leans in and says real quiet to him, wait till your mom's in the kitchen and then waste the TV. So the kid's mom goes into the kitchen to grab the cake. The kid takes the brick, smashes it in the TV. TV is destroyed. What happened here? Now we gotta get a new TV. Yes. The grandpa took the blame for throwing the brick at the TV.
I don't know why I did that.
Then the kid says, it's okay, Mom. Please don't be mad at Grandpa. I'll help you pick out the new TV. Okay, fine. You're right. It's okay, Pops. You'll be okay. Just sit down and relax. I'll clean this up. The mom then leaves to grab the broom. Nice work, kid. I love you, Grandpa. What a nice story. These two best friends were next door neighbors. They decided they didn't want to walk around the fence to see each other anymore. So they were going to dig a secret underground tunnel connecting one yard to the other. They started by the shed. I'm digging. They spent 2 weeks while their parents were at work. They both thought they were geniuses. Bro, we're geniuses. Tell me about it. Shoveling, pickaxing, hauling dirt out in wheelbarrows. Well, they were about 6 feet deep and 10 feet across when one of the kids pickaxed something solid. What was that? I don't know. Keep going. They shouldn't have kept going. Instead, he hit this thing again and again and again until burst. Water spraying everywhere. Ah!
Bro, this is so bad.
It was the water main, the main pipe, and the backyard began to flood. They ran out of that hole. The water didn't stop either. It kept going. The fire department showed up, and then the city workers, and they're like, what the heck is going on here?
We were trying to build a tunnel to each other's houses.
Where are your parents? They're at work. For the rest of the summer, that kid's yard had to be dug up, and they had to repair that pipe. His parents were obviously upset, but they kind of blamed themselves.
How did we not know he was digging a tunnel in our backyard?
Yeah, that was my question too. That's insane. Careful where you dig. Dad, I hit 1,000 subscribers. That's nice, son. This kid was grinding on YouTube, and he's excited. A couple months later, Dad, I have 10,000 subscribers. Whoa, you're really putting in some work. And then, oh my God, 20,000 subscribers. Congrats, buddy. Fast forward a couple weeks, the school calls the dad. Hi, hello there. This is the middle school. Your son hasn't been in school for 3 days. What? He is ticked off. The son comes in later. Hey, what's up, Pops? Where were you? I was at school. school. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. Give me your phone. Go to your room. He goes to his room and slams the door. Well, that was the last straw for his dad. The dad sits there for a second, fuming. His son's laptop is in the living room, and it's open and unlocked. So he goes in there. He goes to the YouTube channel, and he deletes permanently the entire YouTube channel his son has been working on. He then goes to his son's room and knocks. What? I deleted your YouTube channel, by the way. That should teach you a major lesson. You're kidding. I'm not. Oh my god, you're the worst dad ever. I hate you. Full-blown meltdown. This kid is losing it. He's crying. The dad thinks, good. This is a lesson for him. Then later, something feels off to him, so he calls the school. Hey, yeah, I just wanted to touch base about my son's absences. You guys called me letting me know he missed the past 3 days of school, but the secretary's like, we didn't call you, sir, and your son's been here all week. He's got perfect attendance. What? That can't be true. So now he's scrolling the call log. The number that called him wasn't the school's number. And that's when everything unfolds. A couple of kids called him as a prank. His son was at school and he deleted his YouTube channel for nothing. But now he can't take it back. And his son didn't talk to him for months. The second he turned 18, he moved out. This kid's dad freaked out. They're at the grocery store, shopping for their weekly groceries. Cereal, milk, frozen waffles, frozen pizza, lunch meat. Everything seems normal. Then they pull up to the aisle. They're at the cashier. He scans everything. All right, that'll be $125.64. The dad then goes into his pockets and pulls out this giant stack of coupons. Yeah, all right, here you go. Hands them to him super confident. The cashier starts scanning them. Beep, boop, bop, bop, beep. Then he goes, sir, every single one of these is like 9 years old. Everyone expired. Super expired. Scan them again. Okay. Beep, beep, boop, bop, beep, beep, boop. The beeps obviously came from the machine, not his mouth. But this is a video. But he says again, yeah, no, they're all expired. Dad starts raising his voice in front of everybody at the store. His kid is with him. He's like, Dad, please settle down. We're in public. This is absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense at all. You know what? I'm leaving. He then starts to push the cart out of the store. Dad, we have to pay. I'm not paying for anything. Now the kid is standing there by the cashier. Cashier's watching the dad push the cart out and then looks at him. Yeah, this is gonna be a problem. Kid then does something that he never forgave his dad for. He pulled out his wallet and paid for the entire grocery haul with all the money he made that summer from mowing people's lawns. Here, this should cover it. He was saving up for a brand new bike. Worst part is, his dad never paid him back. That's messed up. Ever go to a neighborhood garage sale and see somebody selling a vintage camera for like $5 when it's actually worth $500? Most people just let it happen. But not this kid. Yeah. He's 13, he's got a tablet, and he's running an appraisal firm in his neighborhood. You see, these families near his house, they have garage sales all the time, and they have no idea what they're selling. They're just clearing out their attics. Then the lowballers show up. Oh, that's a big box of Pokemon cards. How much? Oh, you can have them for $5, sweetie. Perfect. Well, you see, that's when the auditor would show up. He would walk up to a neighbor's garage sale and say, I don't want any of your money. I just want 10% of the extra cash you make. He then pulls out his tablet and he starts appraising every single item that these people are selling. He would check on eBay to see the realistic price. Sir, this camera's worth $200 and you're selling it for $3. What? Oh my God, really? That's so good to know. Imagine a guy trying to pay $5 for an old dusty lamp. Yeah, that sounds fair. Actually, that's a mid-century original lamp. It sold for $85 yesterday on eBay. You can have it for $60. People pay. By the end of the day, he would make $100 in commission without having to sell a single item. And the neighbors he's helping are so grateful. And honestly, I never thought about this, but it's genius. And this time I definitely gotta say, respect the hustle. All right, class, first we dissect. Then we eat. This biology teacher had a side job as a chef, and apparently he was pretty good. Well, the kids in his biology class would frequently have these days, dissection days, where you would dissect frogs, cats, I don't know. But most of the time, the teacher would order a bunch of squid from the local market. The squid would be thawed out, raw, and passed out to every student. All right, you should all have a worksheet and a squid. You have 25 minutes. Get to dissect it. Everybody would dissect the squids. They would use the ink to write messages to each other. It sounds kind of fun if you like that kind of stuff. But then the teacher would do something different. He would pull out a George Foreman portable grill from underneath his desk, plug it in, and preheat that baby. Then he would collect all these squids from each lab table, bring them up, season them, and toss them on the grill. Oh, it's smelling good. The first time he did this, the students thought he was absolutely insane. They're like, there's no way we're gonna eat that. But then someone tried it. Wait, that's actually good. Let me try. That is good. I guess the way he cooked this squid was just delectable, and they were constantly looking forward to these days. And although it sounds weird, I think that's a good teacher. I don't feel good. Puke somewhere else. It's finals week, and the hallways are dead silent during class. Everyone's either taking tests or they're doing reviews. Well, on this particular day, this one kid had not felt good. His stomach feels weird. He's nauseous. By midday, he's pale, and he can't hold it in anymore. So he sprints out of the classroom to the bathroom. He turns the corner to the nearest bathroom, and the janitor cart is parked right there. One bathroom is locked, and the other one is blocked. I gotta throw up, he said. Throw up somewhere else, the janitor replies. He tries to slip past him. No, stay back. Now he's panicking, but he sees the garbage bag hanging off the janitor's cart. So he decides he's just gonna throw up in there. But the janitor says, "Shoo, get out of here." And that's it. Kid just steps back, looks at the floor in front of him, and pukes all over it. He then backs up a bit and pukes more. Now he's leaving this puke trail as he's stepping back. When he's done, he wipes his face and he looks at the janitor and says, "Well, looks like you're gonna have to clean that up, huh?" And the janitor is mad. But there's nothing he can do because he's the one that refused this kid a safe, clean toilet to throw up in. So now that's what he gets. This kid ran a crazy summer hustle. His neighbor's name was Mr. Henderson. I'm Mr. Henderson. And he had just left for a 2-week camping trip, but he left his in-ground pool unattended. Most kids would sneak over for a quick dip, but this guy had a different idea. He turned his neighbor's backyard into a literal water park, and he charged every kid on the block $5 for a day pass. Step right up, water park day pass is $5. And people were paying. It was immediately a full-blown operation. There was a cooler full of sodas, there were folding chairs everywhere, and the front yard was a pile of bikes. And these two guys were by the gate, collecting $5 bills. On day 4, the party was at its peak. 15 kids in the backyard. Cannonballs. Marco Polo. Some dude fired up Mr. Henderson's grill and was making hot dogs. Then, Mr. Henderson shows up. What in God's name is going on back here? You see, obviously, one of the other neighbors called Mr. Henderson to let him know what was going on. So he came back from his trip super early. Backyard was dead silent. But what Mr. Henderson did, nobody expected. You, come here. Yes? Listen. I'm going back camping, okay? You can stay here as long as you clean up every day, and by the time I get back, it needs to be spotless. You understand? Oh, yeah. Stay out of my house, too, but have fun. And that was that. For the rest of the 2 weeks, those kids had the most fun they've ever had on a summer break. And yeah, that sounds awesome. Every neighborhood has that one house, yard where baseballs, frisbees, and dog toys go to die. The guy who lived there is creepy, angry, staring through the windows. Hey, go get the ball. Let's just go inside. Just like that, most kids accept the loss and they go buy a new one. But this one kid, he saw a gap in the market. What's up? He memorized the perimeter of this fenced yard. He knew the holes, the gaps, and he bought a very long pole. He has a 10-foot pole with a high grip claw at the end of it. And he started an extraction service. He pulls up with his bike and the pole like it's a jousting stick. All right, what is it? Baseball? Frisbee? It's my dog's favorite beaver toy. Okay, do you know where it is? No. That's fine. I'll use my drone. He had a drone with a camera so he could see above the yard to where the thing that needs to be extracted is, and then he would get to work. Okay, it's at this corner right here. I have the pole. Go through the gap. Is he watching? No. Got it. But he didn't do it for free. Depending on where in the yard it was, it could be $5, $10, or if the old man was right there watching, $20 because of the risk. But people usually paid. He didn't make bank, per se, but he made some good money, and he was a hero to a lot of neighborhood kids. One month he made $100 just by getting things that people were too scared to get themselves. I'd say it's a fair business because there's no way the old man would ever give those things back because he's just crazy like that. And so I say, gotta respect the hustle. He pulled the prank that caused the school so much trouble. And nobody ever found out it was him. It starts with him at a dollar store. He finds these bottles of concentrated bubble bath soap. This looks fun. Like a tiny amount of this stuff would make a ton of foam. This gives me an idea. So he buys a bunch of them, fills his entire gym bag. Now this kid knows the school's layout. He knows where all the cameras are. He knows where their cameras aren't. So one weekend he sneaks inside the building. We're in. He makes it secretly all the way to the pool. The school pool. Looks around, it's empty. Obviously, it's like 10 p.m. on a Saturday. He unzips his bag and he just starts dumping this bubble bath soap into the pool. Bottle after bottle. Then he just leaves. He doesn't stick around. Didn't even wait to see what happened. Well, flash forward to Monday. He gets to school, and there's literally foam everywhere, bursting through doors, filling the hallways. The entire pool room has foam up to the ceiling. Yo. The principal's freaking out. Cancel school! This is an emergency! The kids are laughing. The entire school is talking about this. But here's the thing that this kid did not think about. That foam doesn't just sit there. It gets into the filtration system, to the tubes, the pipes. The entire pool had to be shut down for weeks. It had to be drained, rinsed, and drained like 4 times to make sure all the soap was gone. The biggest problem is that school was known for its water sports, so the polo team and the swim team had to change their entire schedules and share pools with different schools. And the craziest part, this kid didn't even tell anybody. The situation was so bad he couldn't even brag about it to his friends, so he just stayed silent. Until now. This is what happens when your math teacher sucks. This guy's kid is in 4th grade, and she's been having trouble in math. The whole year she's struggled, but when they got to multiplication and division, she struggled even more. I just don't understand it, Dad. I know, let's just try it again. The thing is, she just doesn't understand the method they're teaching, and it doesn't sound easy. So for multiplying, it's a bunch of steps. You break up the numbers, you draw boxes, then you multiply and then add them together. Something like that. And she gets these problems wrong like 90% of the time. So the dad's like, you know what? I'm gonna teach you the way that I learned how to do multiplication. She's like, okay. And guess what? Oh, Dad, I understand it. She under-frickin-stands it. Homework is a million times easier now because she learned it and she's actually solving the problems. Well, here's the issue. His daughter had a math test a few weeks ago. She came home very upset. Dad, I failed. What? Let me see your test. She got a 50%, even though she only got 2 problems wrong. Technically, it should have been a 92%. So he goes into school and he has a conversation with the teacher. Can you explain why my daughter failed? The teacher says, yes, it's because she didn't use the method that I taught in this class. Excuse me? The dad pointed out that the test just says to show you work. It doesn't say to use a specific method. But she said, well, that's too bad. I taught my method to these students for a reason. Your daughter didn't use it. So she fails. Oh, the dad was furious. He went to the principal. He admits that he made it a pretty big deal. What are you guys teaching in the school, huh? Some bogus way to do multiplication? It's so much easier than that. Now my daughter's failing even though she got a 92% on the test. Except with a lot more yelling. The principal called the teacher in and forced her to change the girl's grade to an A. The principal then apologized to the dad and said, it won't happen again. Better not. But for real, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. His stepmom is evil. This happened when this kid was around 11 years old. You see, his dad had remarried a few years earlier, and things at home were weird, but he was trying to make it work. One day his stepmom goes, come on, buddy, let's get some ice cream. And he's like, all right. To him, this feels nice. Maybe they're gonna bond. Maybe she's finally warming up to him. So they go get cones. They sit down inside the shop. He's eating his ice cream, thinking it's a normal day. She then sets her ice cream down, looks him in the face, and says, I think it's best if you go live with your mom full-time. He's confused. But before he can answer, she says this. Nobody in our house loves you. The dude said he just sat there frozen. She keeps going. You take your dad's money. You smell. You ruin everything, and you make him choose you over me. She's saying this to an 11-year-old inside of an ice cream shop. Then when she's done laying into him, she stands up, walks out, gets in the car, and leaves him there at the ice cream shop crying. He said that moment changed him forever. No normal adult says that to a child. That woman is evil. Meet Johnny. Johnny thought he was the smartest kid in the 7th grade. He spent all Monday night practicing his fake stomach pains. Ooh, something kind of hurts. I hope I'm not getting sick. I hope you feel better, sweetie. Well, it works, because on Tuesday morning, his mom fell for it. Oh, Mom, the pain is worse. Oh, my poor baby. Well, I'm heading to work. I'll call you into school. Stay home. Get some rest. Okay. He felt like he pulled off the heist of a century. Spent all day playing video games, thinking to himself, my friends are probably so jealous of me right now. Well, the next morning, he goes back to school, walks in like a king. What's up, guys? The second he gets into the building, he stops. The floors look extra shiny. Everyone's huddled in different groups, watching a video on their phone. He sees his friends. Yo, what's up? His friend says, bro, you picked the worst day to be sick. Apparently, during 3rd period the day before, there was supposed to be a routine fire drill. But it wasn't just the alarm that went off. Something malfunctioned, and the sprinklers in the main hallway went off. We're talking gallons and gallons and gallons of water hitting those floors. One kid even took the bathroom soap and sprayed it on the floors as the sprinklers were coming down. Slip and slide! The best part was, it was 100 degrees outside, so this felt awesome. Teachers were sliding, the principal slipped, the weird kid from class used a lunch tray as a boogie board. Everybody went home soaking wet. But they said it was the best day of school ever, and that's all anyone talked about for years. But there was Johnny. Oh,
That sounds fun. It was amazing. Hope you're feeling better, by the way. Oof. Tough break. Locker room at this one school was built on a limestone creek, but nobody cared about the foundation. One day, this kid named Mike was running late to gym class, and he was the only one in the locker room because everybody else was in the gym. He was sitting on a bench, tying his shoe. What is that noise? He hears a strange noise coming from the floor, so he stood up. And he felt the ground kind of dip. He realized the floor definitely didn't look right. So when he goes to the gym, he tells the PE teacher, "Coach, I think the floor in the locker room is moving and it made a loud noise." But the coach did not care. "Oh, you scared of the floorboards now, Mike? The floor isn't moving, you're going crazy." Now everyone's laughing at him. You know what, actually? Get down and give me 20 push-ups right now. So now, middle of the gym, everyone's standing around Mike as he's doing push-ups. Mike's afraid of the floor. Isn't that right, coach? Shut up, Billy. At the end of the push-ups, Mike stands up. The coach gives one last word. "So from now on, stop being so frickin' soft and get to gym on time." But right as he said that, a loud crash was heard throughout the entire school. They go to the locker room. "Oh, look, coach." The floor had collapsed. There was a 5-foot wide hole, and the lockers had fallen in it. It was a frickin' sinkhole. Mike was right. "I think Mike was right, coach. You got something to say to me, coach?" Yeah. "Everyone evacuate the locker room." And he never apologized to Mike. But it all started because I'm gonna ruin your life. Why? There was this girl who was just super awful, always being mean to somebody, always starting rumors, and this one girl got it the worst. They were on the basketball team together and the softball team together, and this mean girl was always making stuff up about her. Kayla said she hates your coaching style. What? Kayla said she thinks you're the worst player on the team. She's the worst! And people were confronting her. The coaches punished her for this, and people on her team hated her. I didn't say any of those things! But nobody really believed her, and she knew who was behind this. Krista. Then sophomore year starts. Kayla has geometry class with Krista, and Krista starts becoming super friendly. "Hey, what's up, Kayla? How you doing today?" Fine." She sits next to her every day, laughing at all her jokes. "You're hilarious." And then one day before class, Krista says, "Hey, can I please see your homework from last night? I didn't do mine. I'm gonna send a copy of your answers down really quick." And that's when it clicks. Krista's failing geometry, and she wants the answers. She wants to pass. So for a few weeks, Kayla lets her copy off her. Yeah, sure, that's totally fine. Then one day, Kayla realizes she's done. They had a really big important take-home exam that Krista didn't do, but Kayla knew she was going to ask for the answers, so she had 2 copies. The other one, she wrote everything down wrong on purpose, and when Krista asked for the answers, she let her copy the wrong one. "What? Kayla? We failed!" "No, you failed. I got an A." Now that's karma. His family is so weird. So this kid gets invited over to his friend's house, and it's a normal day at first. We were swimming and hanging out. It was whatever. But the setup to the house is already weird. To get to the backyard pool, you have to walk straight through the parents' bedroom. And on the walls of the bedroom, it was just pictures of my friend's mom. Hundreds of them. In different costumes, hundreds of framed pictures all over the walls. In a cowboy costume. In an Elmo costume. In a horse costume where she was the head of the horse and his dad was the butt. So he's already like, yeah, this house is weird. But it gets worse. Later that day, they all go inside, and the friend's mom goes, "Okay, who wants some ice cream?" I was like, heck yeah, I love ice cream. She scoops the vanilla into the bowl and hands it to him. But then she grabs a bottle from the fridge and says, "Do you want ranch on it?" I didn't know how to answer, but I assumed it was a joke, so I just laughed and said, "No, I'm okay." She just looks confused. And then her son, this kid's friend, says, "I'll take some, Mom." Dude, it's so much better with ranch on it. Then the dad walks in. He grabs a bowl. "Oh, this looks good. Who's got the ranch?" I'm just sitting there watching them all eat vanilla ice cream with ranch on it, and they're looking at me like I'm the weird one. Hey, I never went back to that house ever again. You can't eat it. You need to wear it. This kid's parents had this unbelievably weird dinner rule. Every night at dinner, if you refused to eat your food, or you got full before your plate was finished, you had to wear your food. "I don't want to eat my peas." "Put the peas in your hair." Or, "I'm too full to eat these mashed potatoes." And rub the mashed potatoes all over your head. Apparently, this kid's parents thought this was teaching him discipline or something. One night, this kid refused to eat his green beans. "I don't want to eat them. And I can't eat my spaghetti either. I'm so full." "Well, then you better line up each and every one of those green beans in that ugly mullet of yours. And make sure you drape all the noodles over your head as well. You know the rules in my house." He puts it all on his head. And the thing is, they wouldn't let him shower after this until right before he went to bed. So God forbid they had guests come over. What is he going to say to him? "Sorry, I smell and look weird. My parents made me mush all my food all over my body." Oh, that's actually super messed up.
This school banned caffeine, but the no caffeine policy was failing. Every trash can was a graveyard for energy drink cans. But there were too many kids blatantly not following the no caffeine rule, so they couldn't punish everybody. So the next Monday morning, the dean announced that they have installed molecular sensors in the HVAC vents. And don't bother with Gatorade cans or cups. These sensors pick up the scents of taurine, caffeine, so if you crack a can, we will know. Now, obviously the dean was lying. That's not a thing. And a lot of kids knew that, but some kids were super gullible. So this worked for a few days. The hallways were silent and the bins were empty. No mountain of cans. But the students, they figured out how to blind the sensors. Now, this big group of students weren't the smartest, but here's what they came up with. Every time a student opened an energy drink or was sipping caffeine, 4 others would blast the nearest vent with Axe body spray. Cracking now? Spray, boys, spray! They figured if you overloaded the sensors with fragrance, they wouldn't catch the scent of caffeine. Now, like I said, the sensors were a lie, but now there was a real issue with school air quality. Halfway through the day, there was so much Axe body spray filtering through all the vents that it was unbreathable. They had to evacuate the school. Students, everybody please evacuate the building. We have a major air quality issue. God, this is ridiculous. The school was shut down for 48 hours. Now, this was at some school in a small town, so I guess that makes a bit more sense. But still, that's nuts. This kid tried to outsmart the dress code. He was in 7th grade and his school had one of those weird rules. Your bangs couldn't go past your eyebrows. That was the line, just the eyebrows. So one day, a teacher pulls him aside. Hey, come here. Yeah? Get a haircut by tomorrow or there will be consequences. Usually a kid would then have their parents trim their hair. But not this guy. He went home angry. I'm going home, and I'm angry. And he starts thinking like a lawyer. Hair can't go past your eyebrows. Then it hits him. If I don't have eyebrows, then there's nothing for the hair to go past. He felt like a genius. So that night, he took a razor and he shaved his eyebrows clean off. Shows up to school the next morning proud. The same teacher sees him. What did I tell you about your hair? Come here. Well, miss, I'm actually fine now. Not breaking any rules because I don't have eyebrows anymore. She was not impressed, and he still got into trouble and still had to trim his hair. But hey, nice try.
Most teachers have a confiscation drawer, usually full of phones, gum, fidget spinners. But this one teacher had a crazy policy. If it's on your desk and it's not a pencil or your work, it's mine until June. She wasn't joking. She was basically like a frickin' pirate. And her desk was the treasure chest, baby. By May, her desk would look like a mix between a museum and a flea market. Stuff everywhere. She had a stack of rare Pokemon cards, a half-finished crochet project from a student trying to make a hat during a test. There were some lucky rocks, and I kid you not, a waffle maker. On the last day of school, everyone would line up. This is to get their stuff back, or at least they hope. But this teacher, see, she didn't just hand it over. Everything on the desk is up for auction. You see, all year, she had been tracking these classroom points. Points you would get from doing well on tests, doing well on homework, good behavior. And at the end of the year, for this auction, that was the only currency that she wanted. Well, the kid who owned the waffle maker only had 50 points. The straight A kid had 500 points. Yeah, I want the waffle maker. Oh, man. But there was a bidding war. All I wanted, 150 points, 200 points. At the end of the day, pretty much everyone walked away with something that wasn't theirs to begin with. And honestly, that sounds kind of fun. If I were in that class, I would rack up those points as much as I could, and I would take all the stuff. That's crazy.
Kid's always the first one on the bus every single day. And he'd walk in and he would go directly to the back right bus seat. And he would do this because about 15 minutes into the route, there was this bump in the road that the bus would hit every day. And if you were in that back seat, it would launch you up. And it was awesome. And the driver knows this, so he would hit that bump at full speed. It's coming, here it is. Whoa, well, he experienced it a bunch, and then he had a brilliant idea. Every day, people ask, hey man, can I try that seat today? Bro, let me try that seat today, please. And when people ask, he starts saying, well, what do you got? One kid pulled out a Twinkie. All right, deal, have a seat. The next day, someone else says, I'll give you $2 for the seat today. Anyone got something better? I got Sour Patch Kid watermelons. Deal. He's auctioning off that seat every single morning. People are offering Doritos, money, their lunch desserts, their entire lunch. Whoever wins gets the launch, and the whole bus always counts down right before it's gonna happen. All right, you ready, Kevin? Yeah, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. Oh, nice. And that, my friends, is awesome.
Yo, when this kid was young, his parents told him, "Sweetie, your hamster got too big for its cage. We had to give him to a new home." Aww. He was like 8 years old and he believed it completely. He was devastated, but he eventually got over it. He just figured, well, Chester's out there somewhere. I hope he's happy. Fast forward a few years. Now, the kid's in middle school. One day, him and his older brother are arguing over something stupid. Yo, I finished my homework early to play the PlayStation. Mom said I could. I don't care, dude. I'm not getting off. I'm staying on this all night. You're a freaking jerk, dude. Yeah, well, you're a baby. It escalates. The kid then unplugs the PlayStation in the middle of a match and his older brother freaks out. You know what? You really think Mom and Dad gave your hamster to a new home? What? Yeah. Follow me outside. What do you mean? Where are we going? So now he's confused. The older brother leads them both outside. The older brother grabs a little shovel and he begins digging in the middle of the yard. You really thought, oh my God. What's going on? There it is. The older brother pulls out this little knit bag. He opens it and inside was the dead hamster. See, look, it never went to a new home. The cat frickin' killed it, and Mom and Dad lied to you. For the rest of his middle school career and high school, that little brother was a menace to both his parents and his older brother. He said he never forgave them. Top 3 pettiest teachers. Number 3. There was a teacher that gave detention for somebody sneezing twice. The first time it was, bless you. The second time, okay, now you're just messing with me. Detention after school today. It was allergy season too, so for the rest of the week, these kids were fighting for their lives. Well, one day at the end of class, his teacher had a sneezing fit. All right, and oh, Miss Johnson, that's 3 sneezes. I guess that means you're suspended, huh? She never gave someone detention for sneezing again. Number 2, this one teacher right before class started one day moved the clock 10 minutes back just because she wanted to disappoint these kids when they started packing up at what they thought was the end of class. All right, we got a couple minutes left. I'm so hyped for lunch. Why are you boys packing up? Oh, miss, we only got 2 minutes of class left. Somebody check their phone. What the heck? That's right, I tampered with the clock. We have 10 minutes. It's time for group reading. That's just diabolical. Number 1 pettiest teacher. There was a teacher who failed the kid for using blue ink on a test. The problem was, she was the same teacher that lent him the pen. So you see, a kid forgot one. He asked, "Yo, can I borrow something for the test?" "Sure, here you go." She gave him a blue pen. Well, you see, in the syllabus, she had a rule where you weren't allowed to take a test with a blue pen. It had to be black. So he finishes the test, hands it in, and gets a 0. That teacher just wanted him to fail. And that's messed up. They had a substitute teacher, and Henry was sitting in the back of the classroom. He was minding his business. And the substitute came in that day strict for no reason. He scanned the classroom, and he saw Henry in the back. He sees 2 small devices in Henry's ears. "Hey, you! Give me those headphones now." Okay. He didn't argue, he just handed over the devices. The substitute then took these, put it in the drawer, and began teaching. About 10 minutes later, he needed a volunteer. "Okay, one of you come up here. You know what? How about you? In the back. Henry." No response. "Since you wanted to listen to music all class, why don't you come up here and help me?" Still nothing. He then lost it and walked straight to Henry. "Hi, hello? Why are you ignoring me?" "Oh, you were talking to me?" "Yes." "I'm sorry, I can't understand you, sir. You made me give you my hearing aids." This dude had confiscated Henry's medical necessity, and boy, did he feel stupid about that. "Well, why didn't you tell me?" "I don't know, you seemed real strict about it." He returned the hearing aids right then and there, but he never returned to that school. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Something stinks. This one guy shared the story. It's the middle of the night. The dad's asleep in his room, and somehow his twin toddlers, both 2 years old, escape their room and go down to the kitchen. They drag a chair across the floor, and they climb on it. They open a drawer they definitely shouldn't be opening, and they pull out a cheese grater. Then they go to the fridge and pull out a block of cheese. Parmesan cheese. So now, these 2 toddlers are sitting on the floor with a cheese grater and a block of Parmesan cheese. And all you can hear is just the sound of grating cheese. The shavings are falling on the floor, and they're picking it up. Now, this house had heating vents on the floor. Well, this toddler took all of this cheese, lifted up the heating vent, and they started feeding cheese down the vent. They then go back to their room. Well, morning hits. The dad wakes up. "What is that smell?" Now, this is the middle of winter, so the heat was on. The entire house smells like hot feet. He starts checking everything. He opens the fridge, the oven, he's mopping the floors. The smell won't go away, but his toddlers are being suspicious. "What did you 2 do?" milk. Now this family is one of those families that had cameras inside the house. So he decided he's gonna check the cameras. And he sees everything happen. What in God's name? So he gets to cleaning. He does as best as he can, but that smell never really went away. But more than the smell, this dad was concerned, because how did his 2-year-old twins get out of their room, go to the kitchen, get a cheese grater, grate Parmesan cheese, and put it into the heating vents? Those two are menaces. Teacher was the strictest in the school. No phones, no talking, and absolutely no food. But then one morning, before class, she saw a single flaming hot Cheeto, perfectly taped to the middle of her desk. What is this? She peeled the snack off, put it in the garbage, and monitored the room incredibly well that day. Nobody came forward. The next day, another Cheeto, taped with a single piece of Scotch tape on the pencil sharpener. Another one. The next day, another one taped to the back of her chair. The day after that, it was taped to her escape key on her keyboard. What is going on? She had no idea who was doing this, and it was messing with her badly. So she went to the school principal and the people in charge. And they're like, okay, settle down, it's just Cheeto, but I'll make an announcement. The principal was young and new, and he was about to make a major mistake. Good morning, students. Whoever keeps taping single hot Cheetos to things in Mrs. Gable's room, please stop. Uh-oh. He made that announcement to a middle school. What happened next? Dozens of students thought it was hilarious and started doing the exact same thing. There was flamin' hot Cheetos taped everywhere. Library books, school trophy case, the gym scoreboard. So the school tried to kill this joke for Mrs. Gable, but instead they accidentally started a cult. The taped hot Cheeto cult. And there was nothing they could do about it. The only thing that kills a trend is time. And it took some time. Principal's toupee gets stolen during school. And within minutes, everybody knows, and everybody's joking about it. Dude, Mr. Killman looks so dumb. Kids were whispering in the hallways, even teachers were trying not to laugh. And whenever he walks down the hallway, people pull their phones out to record him. He's humiliated. He's trying to act normal, but he's falling apart like a sad little puppy. And for a second, you almost feel bad for him. But then you remember, yesterday he called you into his office. He thought you were involved in a fight that you weren't involved in. So you're in there, and he's just going in. No, don't you lie to me. I know you were involved in this. You were a horrible student. I knew the second that you got here, you were gonna cause trouble. And I bet your grades suck, don't they? Let's look them up. You know what? I'm not gonna look them up. I'm just gonna send you home to your horrible mom. You know, she was in my class when I taught here years ago, and she was horrible then too. Get out of here. Pretty brutal. And here's one more thing. You know exactly where the toupee is, because you saw the kid that stole it. He secretly hid it behind the trophy case. Nobody else knew. And that kid is definitely not coming forward, so now it's only you. You could grab it, hand it back to him, be the bigger man, and maybe the principal will treat you differently, or you could destroy the toupee and let him be humiliated for the rest of the day. What would you do? One skate park, everyone called this kid the professor. While the kids from the neighborhood were hitting the ramps, the professor was sitting at the side with a notebook and a pencil. He didn't even own a skateboard. He just sat there, measuring the incline of the death gap, a 10-foot jump over the staircase that was very difficult. Degree angle, this one too. Huh. Then one day, the best skater in the neighborhood shows up. Let's call him Jackson. He was there to try to clear this death gap and make a name for himself in the neighborhood. I'm the best. I can do it. He tried 5 times. Every time, his board would scuff off and he would fall down. At this point, his elbows were bleeding and he was getting incredibly frustrated. Everyone watching was like, "You're not gonna do it, man. You're still a good skater, though." "Yeah, just give it up, Jackson. I'm gonna clear it." That's when the professor goes up to him. "Hey, dude, you're actually approaching it from a completely different angle. If you hit it right here, just like that, I promise you'll clear the gap." The kid's just trying to help him. But Jackson says, "Shut up, dude. You don't even skate. I'm not gonna listen to you, loser." But Jackson had went over this jump thousands of times in his head. It's been in his notebook for days. He knows the angles. So he grabs Jackson's skateboard. Let me see this. He hops on, goes to the other end of the ramp, and he drops in. He's going. And he clears it. Whoa, he did it! Hey, nice work, man. What the heck? I told you, bro. If you listened to me, you could have had all the glory. But now, it's mine. Come on! Yeah, I'm awesome! The professor went home, and he never returned to that skate park again. And Jackson, that night, cried himself to sleep. And it's all because, in most classrooms, misbehavior gets you a warning, or a detention. Well, back in the 80s, it was something completely different. In this classroom, any deviation from the system, like talking too much, or misbehaving, throwing stuff, spitballs, it required a physical debt. Hey! Kyle, spitball! The teacher didn't make them sit in a corner or put a goofy hat on. Next to his desk on the floor laid a sheet of coarse sandpaper. One mistake, you had to get up there and kneel down on the sandpaper. And you weren't just kneeling, you were working. You had to stay in that exact position while your knees grinded onto the grit while you had to write massive amounts of words. And what you normally did is there were a list of 30 words, and you had to write each word 10 times. The punishment was designed to make them try to write fast, because the longer you took to write these words, the longer you had to kneel. It's actually incredibly horrifying, and it would completely not fly today. I can't believe that's what they did back then. Eventually, they stopped doing that, thank God. But that teacher never got in trouble because, well, it was the 80s. For some reason, in the middle of class, he pulled out a classical guitar, and he began playing classical guitar music in front of everybody. He was probably trying to show off his guitar skills in front of the students. Well, some kid in the back was whispering during it. Dude, last weekend was so freaking fun. That squirrel was awesome. Well, Mr. Thorne heard this. It was during the most delicate part of the song. He took his guitar, and he threw it right at this kid. It hit the wall and shattered. The guitar was expensive too, and the teacher just broke it. Everyone was stunned. Mr. Thorne then began to walk to the back of the classroom towards the kid. Mr. Thorne then reached down, grabbed the metal legs of the desk, and flipped the desk with the kid still in it. The kid was now pinned under the desk, and he was crying. The rest of the class still stunned. Mr. Thorne then walked back to the front of the room, looked at everybody and said, "Page 42, now." And he expected everyone was just gonna do it. But no, the kid who was flipped walked out, got the principal came, and Mr. Thorne was fired. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. $3,000 earring just sank to the bottom of a swimming pool. It was a July heat wave. The water at the public pool was cloudy. The deep end was super deep. Even the lifeguards were afraid. And at the bottom of the pool was now this girl's very expensive earring. Somebody help me, somebody help me. That's when everybody turned to this kid who was sitting in a chair playing with a ladybug. Do something. Do something, Bug. You see, they called this kid Gills, because every day in the summer he would play in pool water, then he would drink it. Don't ask him, dude, he's super weird. Yeah, but bro, if somebody could do it, it's Gills. Gills never used goggles. He said he could sense his surroundings through his fingertips. So they asked him, "Hey Gills, yeah, bro. We need your help, man. That girl lost a $3,000 earring. It's at the bottom of the deep end." And Gills did not hesitate. "I'm on it." He dives right in. 1 minute passed, then 2. The snack bar worker paused the music. The crowd went dead silent. Everyone was waiting for Gills' lifeless body to float to the surface, when suddenly, a hand comes right out of the water, holding the earring. "Oh my God, here's your earring. I also found a hot dog down there. Free food." He ate the hot dog and sat back down with the ladybug. That day, the nickname Gills stopped being an insult. He was kind of a legend. And it all started because I want to be a bird when I grow up. She was in 1st grade, and she really wanted to be a bird when she grew up. She thought about it every single day. Well, one morning, during lunch at school, she noticed these red bumps on her arms and her neck. And she whispers to herself, "It's happening. It's happening." She thought her transformation to a bird was happening right then and there, and she was sitting down preparing for feathers to pop out of her skin. She then freaks out and grabs the nearest teacher. "Mrs. Johnson? Sweetheart, what is wrong?" "I'm just a kid. I don't want to become a bird yet." "What?" The teacher had no idea what that meant. "I have no idea what that means." The nurse gets called. Mom gets called. Turns out she was allergic to something she ate during lunch, and it was pretty bad. She had to be rushed to the hospital. That's crazy. The biggest loss of aura in school history. This kid built his whole reputation off of basketball. He wasn't on the team, but he would always say he was really good. He carried a basketball around with him everywhere. "Hey, what's up, guys?" At lunch or in class, whenever he was chilling, he would be spinning the ball on his finger. Yo, check this out. Cool, huh? And people did think it was cool. And he would always say, "Oh, I don't want to be on the basketball team. Too much commitment. I just play in my backyard." "Oh, okay." Yeah, the team is trash though anyway. Then the pep rally comes up. The principal goes, "Alrighty students, now it's time for the free throw challenge. Let's get somebody who's not on the team up here. See what you can do." And everybody volunteers this kid. "Hey, come on, man. He'll do it." "Yeah, he'll totally do it." The entire school knows him, so the entire gym is cheering so loudly. This kid gets up there. He's already got a basketball with him. Right. Takes his first shot. And he misses. Crowd's like, "What?" He brushes it off. "It's a joke. It's a joke. Give me the ball." Misses again. And again. And again. He can't make one hoop. Now the cheers stopped. And the laughing began. Everyone's yelling at him, calling him a fraud, calling him a loser. "Dude, you actually suck. He sucks." Kid begins crying. It was all talk, forever. Everyone thought he was a basketball god. Turns out, he's trash. He runs out of the gym, and he never comes to school with a basketball ever again.
Every kid has a moving out phase. On this day, this kid's mom was yelling at him, telling him to clean his room, eat his broccoli, normal stuff. But he got fed up. Fine, if my room is so messy, I'm moving out. And he expected his mom to cry and be like, no, don't move out, I'm so sorry. The mom just said, okay, the suitcase is in the attic. Suddenly, she called his bluff. Okay, I'm gonna go get it. He knows she called his bluff, but he wants to see how far he can take it, so he starts packing. Then suddenly, the mom is helping him pack. Oh, don't forget your toothbrush, honey. I'll even drive you to the end of the street if you want. I'll pack you a sandwich too, so you don't starve tonight. No, it's fine, I'll walk. Now, 5 minutes later, this kid's standing at the edge of the driveway with his suitcase full of random stuff his mom helped him pack. His mom locks the front door, closes the garage. Kid begins to walk away, hoping that they're watching him, hoping they'll beg for him to come back. But they don't. So he turns around, knocks on the door. Oh, hi, sweetie. Did you forget something? I don't want to move out, Mom. I'll clean my room. The room gets cleaned in record time. Has this ever happened to any of you guys? Oh my god, my farms! This was back in the Facebook game era. This kid's mom was completely addicted to Farmville. She'd wake up in the morning, pour herself a cup of coffee, and immediately it was farming time. Harvest, 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 plant. My farm is looking great. This mom was also kind of a helicopter parent, so she would monitor her kids' activity online as well, which meant she had her kids' Facebook passwords. But more than monitoring their activity, she was also playing Farmville on their accounts. Basically a whole digital farming empire. All of my farms are doing amazing. She took it way too seriously. I'm not sure if any of you remember this or your parents, but Farmville meant business back in the day. One day, the kids get grounded for some bogus reason, and the son, he's mad. I'm mad! He wants payback, so he's sitting in his room and he's thinking to himself, what does she love the most? Her farms. So one night, he logs into his Facebook, and he intentionally sabotages everything in his farm. Then he goes on the family computer. His mom's already logged in. He goes to her precious farm and completely sabotages everything there as well. Selling, deleting, harvesting too early. The next morning, he hears it. He's still in his bed. From downstairs, he hears the yelling. What happened to my farm? What happened to all my farms? Panic and fast-clicking mouse noises filled the air. She spends the whole day absolutely furious, talking about hackers, emailing Facebook. She never put two and two together that her son probably did this, but he knew, and it made him so happy. That's what you get, Mom. Was a kid, his mom dragged him to the nearest 7-Eleven. I don't want to go. Well, that's too bad. Well, they get there, she goes in the store, but he waits outside. He then sees this older, strange-looking guy sitting against a wall. Hey, want to see something cool? And he's a kid, so he said yes. Of course he wants to see something cool, which you should never do. The man then smiles, and then pulls off a prosthetic leg, and showed this kid his leg stump. Look at this. The leg stump had a very weird smiley face drawn on it in Sharpie. The kid absolutely freaks out. That's not cool. The man then panics because I guess he had good intentions. Oh, no, wait. Look, it's actually cool. Look. The kid's now ugly crying. The mom runs out of the store. What's going on? His leg. The man's embarrassed. The mom's freaking out at him. I don't know why he showed the kid his leg stump anyway, but she went home with her kid. And years later, when he sees a 7-Eleven, he freaks out a little bit still. This teacher had a candy tax. So one of my subscribers sent me the story. It was period 1 teacher. No food, no drinks allowed, unless it was a water bottle with a lid. But candy? Candy was allowed, with a catch. If you bring candy, I get a cut. And he meant it. There was a jar on his desk. It was a big glass jar and it was labeled candy tax. So if you had candy, you would walk in. Here you go. You would put a few candies in the jar, sit down, and you were free to eat your candy openly throughout the class. Payment received, my boy. Payment received. But if he caught you eating candy without giving him the tax first, he would walk over. I didn't see you pay the tax, young man. Here, too late. It's all mine now. And he would take all the candy you had. For the most part, all the students respected this rule. And honestly, so do I. Gotta pay the candy tax. School prank lasted for 2 years. It all began at this high school when a single rubber duck appeared in the school's water fountain. And nobody thought much of it. It was just a random duck. Who cares? Until the next day, 2 ducks. Then 4, then 10. By the end of that week, there was rubber ducks appearing in every sink, every toilet, and even in students' lockers. Teachers were losing their minds. The principal, she was done. She kept saying on the intercom, whoever's responsible for the ducks, speak up now, please. Silence. Nobody confessed. So they gave up. They figured it would eventually sizzle out. But here's the thing, it never stopped. For 2 years, rubber ducks would randomly appear in the craziest of places. Ceiling tiles, inside the vending machines, somehow. One duck even appeared in the vice principal's car. It became a legend till this senior year. It was graduation. The principal was giving her speech when suddenly a banner dropped down. What was on the banner? A single rubber duck. This kid walked to the front of the stage and said, "It was me. It was always me." This bully got smoked. So there's this kid named Mateo. He's super nice, he's quiet, and he always walks around in these old beat-up New Balance shoes. And then there's Jackson, super loudmouth, and he wears these $600 limited edition Nikes that everyone compliments. "Hey yo, check the drip. Nice shoes, Jackson." "Thanks." Now normally Mateo ignores Jackson because Jackson's constantly making fun of Mateo's shoes. But one day in gym, Mateo had enough. Jackson was like, "Bro, you're still wearing those nasty-ass crusty shoes? You're probably super poor, you freaking idiot." Everyone laughs. Mateo doesn't. Because here's the secret. Mateo is a walking sneaker encyclopedia. He can spot a pair of fake sneakers from a mile away. And nobody knew this about him. And Jackson, those $600 shoes, Mateo's known for months that those are fake. And he's kept quiet because he's a nice guy. Until now. When the class is doing laps around the gym, Mateo sneaks out and heads to the locker room. He opens Jackson's locker because, of course, he never locks it. And he walks out to the gym floor holding the shoes like evidence. "Everybody, yo, dude, those are my shoes. Since y'all want to talk about my shoes, let's talk about Jackson's shoes." He pulls out his phone and he begins comparing pictures of fake shoes to the ones that Jackson has, and they line up. So this is a fake. Look at Jackson's. See that stitching? That's fake. Look at the logo. It's completely off. It's in the wrong font. Look at the sole of the shoe. Completely discolored. These are only worth $25. Everyone's like, "What? Dude? So you're a frickin' fraud then, huh, Jackson?" "No, I mean, yes. I mean, no." Bro, you can't clown people for their shoes when you're wearing frickin' replicas. I paid more for my New Balances than you did for those fakes. And from then on, nobody made fun of Mateo's shoes ever again. Man, yeah, legend. There's a big difference between Oak Street and Oak Avenue, and it changed this one kid's life. He was told to meet at this house for a study group. The address was 124 Oak Avenue, but when he put it in his GPS, he put 124 Oak Street, which is a completely different house. Pulled up, went to the door and he knocked. "Oh, you must be one of the neighbor boys. Come on in," this old lady answered. Kid's like, "This doesn't seem like my study group." And it wasn't, but he just went along with it. "Have a seat, I'm making cookies." "Oh, okay." He sits down, she pours him a glass of milk, and he had a bite of a cookie. "This is the best cookie I've ever had." "Glad you like it." And they sat there for an hour and a half, just chatting. She told him stories about being in school in the 50s and their school dances. He even pulled out his book and studied there for a bit. It was productive, and him and this grandma lady connected. You see, this woman lived alone. Her grandchildren had all graduated and moved out of the town. She was lonely, and this kid's grandma had passed away 2 years ago. So it was like a connection. "Are you sure you've had enough food?" "Yes, it was delicious, and thanks for helping me study." "Of course. Come back whenever." And he did. Once a month, he would go over there for cookies and a study session. And he realized it's the first day of a new semester, and this teacher is having everybody in class give a personal story, one by one, and they had 10 minutes to think of one. Then each student comes up to give their 3-minute introduction speech. Normal stuff, but obviously people are panicking. But they came up with their stories, like summer jobs, broken bones, embarrassing vacations. Well, one girl instantly raises her hand. "I'll go first." "Okay, I like your enthusiasm. Get on up here." She's confident and she is smiling. She walks to the front of the classroom. She starts talking about how her parents owned a retiring home, how they worked hard and built their business from the ground up. She said how the retirement home had these huge aquariums in the lobby filled with fish. The whole room's nodding. "Well, that's sweet. This is a nice story." But then she says, "Yeah, me and my brother got bored one day, so we smashed the aquarium glass." People looked up like, "What?" "Grabbed a fork from the kitchen." The teacher's like, and stabbed each fish one by one." The class is horrified. She then smiles and says, "So yeah, that's my story." Nobody clapped, the teacher had no idea what to say, and nobody talked to her for the rest of the year. Yeah, I wouldn't either. She sounds insane. I was afraid to fall asleep in class. And this story is exactly why. This person starts by saying that Mr. Vance was a super chill teacher. What's up, class? Let's learn some history. He spent most of class leaning against the wall, talking about history like it was a bonfire story. Kids loved him. But he also kept a wooden paddle hanging on the wall right next to the whiteboard. No, it wasn't for hitting students. Why'd he have the paddle, you ask? Well, it was for situations like this. One day, this kid named Tyler, he had pulled an all-nighter. He had tons of homework to finish. And no matter how hard he tried to stay awake, he couldn't. The teacher clocked it. He then stopped teaching, went to the paddle, and walked by this kid's desk. And the kids in Tyler's row knew the drill. They all got everything off their desks and they kind of scooted back. The teacher then took that paddle and as hard as he possibly could, he smacked it on the desk right next to Tyler. And it was so loud. And Tyler didn't just startle awake. He hopped about 5 feet in the air. The teacher then went right back to teaching. Hey, stay awake. All right, class. And boy, is that the worst. Now, my teachers didn't have a paddle, but they would just take their hand and I would never sleep.
আসতে বলবো না সেটা আমার একটা জরুরি কথা আছে
বাবা
ভাই আমি তো এলাকা ছাড়ার আগে
তুমি একটা গিরাট্টুটা ছেলে যেই ছেলে
তানিয়া আমার পিস্তলটা নিয়ে আয় তো।
কাকা কি দুধটা রাইখে গেলাম
মাত্র সে ফেসবুকে স্ট্যাটাস দিয়েছে সে একটি অনাথ বাচ্চাকে
কত স্যাক্রিফাইস করছি এলাকার বড় ভাই থেকে রিকশা চালক হয়ে গেলাম আর সেটাই করবো যে গরম না আর এই বড় ভাই তোর মায়ের চিকিৎসার দায়িত্ব নিছে সেলিম ভাই ভালোবাসার লেগে জেল খাটছিল
ভাই আপনি যত কথাই এই বাড়িতে ওই বদমাইশটার কথা একবারও ভুলে উচ্চারণ করবা না
ভাই মিনিমাম 17 লাইনের একটা কবিতা লেখেন 17 লাইনের কবিতা
কিন্তু ছাপাই না সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেব আর আমি কি কমো জানো তবু তানিয়া তবে ভালো কেমনে বেটা কস না কেন বেটা
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো রূপ করে পড়ে যাবো আর তো আপনি পারবেন ভাই আপনি পারবেন
ও 700 লাইন লিখবো আর বাদ বাকি 300 লাইন আমি লেখা বললাম
একটু নামিয়ে দাও মানে ও ছাড়া পাক না পাক তাতে আমাদের কি
কি খবর তোমাদের? কেমন আছো তোমরা সবাই? ভালো তো না? তুমি জানো তোমায় কালকে একটা কতবার কল দিছি?
হ্যালো আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি রে হৃদয় রহিন মানা করতেছি কিছু না কিছু। ভাবি আপনি জানেন আমি একবার অসুস্থ হয়ে গেছিলাম, ও আমাকে রক্ত দেয়নি, আর আজকে আপনাকে রক্ত দিয়ে চিঠি লিখছে।
আমাকে বুকিং দিছে মানে আমাকে কে বুকিং দিছে দোস্ত?
তোর যে আশিক আছে না এখন তো আমার পিছনে লাগছে।
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয় আপনি শিখাই না তোরা? কেমন আছো তুমি?
ভালো।
আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো না রক্তটা দিবি তুই? আমি কেন রক্ত দেবো? প্রেম খরচ তুই, রক্ত আমার বন্ধু জিসেন আপনাকে অনেক ভালোবাসে ভাবি, আপনার ওর রক্ত যাওয়াটা বিধা হতে দিবেন না ভাবি। 017342192 এটা তোমার নাম্বার না?
জি জি, আপনি কেমন আছেন?
ভালো নেই, আমি ভালো নেই। আমিও তোর মতোই ভাবতেছি, রক্ত যদি দিঠা যায়, রক্তটা আপনার কাছে এইটা আমার লাস্ট রিকোয়েস্ট ভাবি।
আচ্ছা
কখন আসবে তোদের ভাবি? আর ভালো লাগতেছে না আমার। সে যে কেন এলো
কবিতা লিখতে হইব, কয় লাইন লাগছস দে, নাহলে কিন্তু আমি তোকে পিটামু দে। তাদের
লাগবে হইব না ভাই, এটা স্যার আপনি যেটা করবেন এটা করবো। কোন খুন খারাপি করে লিখুন, কবিতা লিখতে পারবো না।
কোনো মাপ নাই।
এটা পইরে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো রূপ করে পড়ে যাবো গা। আর উত্তর আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
এত কিছু ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস, আর প্রেমে ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস না? কথা তো একেবারে ফালায় দেওয়ার মতো না। আগে যদি তোরা গুলিও করস, আগে সালামটা তুই আনো।
আপনার ছেলেকে আমার এত পছন্দ হয়েছে যে আমি তো বিয়েতে রাজি হয়ে গেছি।
বছরও পড়বো না।
আমি তোমাকে চ্যালেঞ্জ দিলাম, তুমি যদি 7
মাস্তানি মুস্তানি অপরাধ, এই 7 দিন খালি খাবি। আর
এরকম পট্টি দিয়ে রাখছস কেন?
আমি চাই এই মহৎ কাজটার সাথে আপনি থাকেন। আমাদেরকে একশো
দুনিয়ার খাসা বেড়া। হ্যাঁ, আরে বেটা বড় ভাইয়ের মতো একটা বড় ভাই মানে টুকু
কিন্তু ছাপাই না, সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে। যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা, আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেবো। আর আমি কি কমো জানো? তবু তানিয়া ভালো কেমন বেটা, কস না কেন, বেটা
তোমার আমি আসো ফুল দাও দে। আচ্ছা করে বুঝতেছ,
গর্জন করলেই সবকিছু অর্জন হয় না, বুঝছো?
তানিয়া শুধু ভাত কেন?